So we get to the gate, and the staff is like, "Okay, you guys are ready. So Akil, where's your visa?" And I was like, in my heart, I almost shit a brick right there at the gate. And I was just like, "What?" Yo, what's going on, everyone? Strap your seatbelts in, because we are in for a good one. It's episode 131 of the podcast. We're starting Epic Story Time Part 1, where which leads to my trip to Cambodia, which I'll talk about in the next episode. But as I start getting into the story, I realized this is such a fucking long ass epic story that I only got to the first half. Akil goes to China, okay, and I tell that story. So, but before we get into that, please remember, definitely hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. This is gonna be one of those all-time episodes where you're gonna definitely really enjoy it. Probably gonna laugh at my pain. I know, it's cool. I can laugh at it now, and it's definitely, a stepping stone, lead me where I need to go in life. So it's totally fine. But it's fucking crazy. Okay, and you think this is crazy? Part 2 gets even fucking crazier. So definitely subscribe, definitely comment, and definitely enjoy. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 131. 131. Yeah, we are back in effect. Let me pull this a little bit closer to me. Oh, I'm clanging stuff. Hopefully that's better. Let me double check. Yeah, I think that might be better for you guys watching on YouTube. We are here for another episode, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Well, kinda. Let me explain why. For a couple of reasons. First off, my apologies. I kind of got off schedule, if you will. Well, the last episode was kind of like a 2-part dealio. If you only listen on via the podcast, then the podcast is kind of late. If you watch on YouTube, there has been some content coming out staggered, if you will, but just generally I've just been fucking busy. I'm busy, and not like super busy, but busy and not trying to drive myself crazy. I think I've told you all before, like I'm really trying to find my pacing. I was actually watching this really good documentary online. Hopefully this camera is not crooked. If this camera's crooked, it looks kind of crooked to me, but if it's crooked, my bad. But yeah, I'm watching the No Limit Chronicles BET series. You can find part 1 on YouTube right now, by the way. It documents Master P's story. If you don't know who Master P is, he's not the best rapper in the world, but he is a great businessman, and just his story I'm familiar with, but details about it was really interesting to watch. And I was watching the second part of it, and I forgot what I was talking about that. Oh yeah, I remember Master P. Yeah, picking up some tips from listening to his story and applying it to myself. And yeah, just one thing, I'm trying to find the formula, find my secret sauce, if you will, to get where I want to go. And I think if you've been around the podcast and me for a while, about a year ago I was kind of killing myself. Was it about a year ago? A year and a half ago now? I was like, geez, like time flies. But over a year and a half ago, I was really killing myself, and that's not going to be the path to get where I want to go. So I'm trying to like figure out my groove, figuring out my creative process, refining that process, if you will, taking my time with stuff. And also doing some other things, making sure my family's my priority and things like that too. So things are progressing a bit slower. But I'm trying to be okay with that, so and just soaking up things and things like that. So yeah, this summer, this month especially is my busy month. So I got several things. I'm just kind of checking off the boxes of things, making those my priority. Then I gotta get back to some other shit, and it's just a bunch of stuff I gotta do. But I'm just kind of marathon, kind of pacing myself one by one, knocking them out of the park. So yeah, especially this month and maybe September, it might be a little bit shaky on content. Once a week, maybe once every week and a half, something like that. So my apologies for that. But I'm not apologizing for this. Boom. I got tonight's episode is sponsored by Japanese Zaki. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's some shochu though. I got some shochu from one of my in-laws, or which is nice. I'm not normally a shochu drinker, so but I got this fucking big. I'm the only one who drinks in the house, so like, gotta do something with it. And here it is. So got it on ice. Pretty good, pretty smooth. Again, I'm not like a huge shochu guy, but hey, if it's running me, I'm gonna drink it. I'm getting started quite late tonight because I was kind of got a hangover. I was drinking some of this shit last night, just trying to get a feel for it. I haven't drunk shochu in such a long time. And I was like, fuck it, let me drink it on the podcast, especially because I don't have anything planned for tonight. Well, I do have something planned. Well, I haven't prepared any, videos or articles. There's not like a lot really going on in Japan. Or not a lot of things that I want to talk about, I'd say. So, I'm gonna just get into it. It's story time. We're gonna have another epic story episode for you guys. One, I don't know how, I got tomorrow. Technically, I'm off. I gotta just do some work, a little bit of work for my smartphone, pretty much. But see, I'm getting all fucked up. I took one sip of shochu and I'm all like fucking drunk off my ass already. But no, so yeah, I just got to do a little bit of work from my phone, but I'm pretty much off tomorrow. So I have, even though it's like midnight when I'm getting started, I like to get started by like 11:30 at the latest. But I can kind of sleep in and tell my wife I'm hungover if I drink that much, and she'll probably let me sleep in a little bit later. So. All right, so tonight we're gonna do another epic story time episode, a story that I have not told on here at all. I might have dropped some hints about it. I can't remember, but I'm gonna go through the full story. I told my wife, like, I'm gonna tell the story, and she's like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah. I'm going to let you guys know the deal, what happened." And this story takes place. When was this? 2011, 2012, maybe 2011, 2012. And this is the story of how I ended up in Cambodia. Oh yeah, I didn't end up I'm not gonna say I didn't end up Cambodia living, but I ended up going to Cambodia twice on two crazy ass trips. That turned, I was talking to my wife about, that story beforehand. I was like, yeah, I'm going to tell the story, and some of the mistakes I made. She was like, it's not a mistake. I'm like, I know it's not a mistake. It was growing pains and stepping stones that I needed to get to kind of get where I'm at right now. So I'm very much appreciative for those experiences. But it was a fucking crazy ass time in my life. And we're going to get into it. So, to get it, let me fucking start. You know how it is. Just don't complain. I know I'm jumping all over the place. Let me get a couple drinks in me, and get me all sauced up, and then I'll tell you like the real fucking deal. All right. Oh yeah. Speaking of Rod, I saw your email. I'm gonna respond. I like to reply to Rod's emails. And not only Rod, anyone who. Oh, wait, time out before I do any of this shit. Please remember. Please remember, subscribe, wherever you're at, comment, all this shit. Again, I see the comments, I see everything. Thank you guys. Someone, I don't know who it is, I'm looking at my analytics. Someone, I believe on YouTube, just recently discovered the podcast, maybe binge watched, all of the available, it's not like a lot online, but all the available episodes on there. So thank you if you're watching this now. Thank you, new subscriber, new watching, or hopefully new listener. I appreciate you. I watch the numbers. We only have like a small audience, but it's good to see, those numbers tick up and know that, watching those numbers increase means that someone's enjoying and getting something from the content I'm putting out, and that makes me happy. So, celebration. Okay, let me slow down with this shit before I'm like all over the fucking place. Okay. Last night I had like a beer and like a cup of these, and I was just like, ugh. I was like mildly hungover most of the day. So, I don't know what the fuck is in this shit. Like, it just looks. Where is it from? Somewhere. I can't even read this fucking kanji. Something Shima can. I don't know. I can't read what prefecture this shit's from. So it's I don't know. Whatever. It's called Kanoko. Kanoko is the name of it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll just drink it and see what happens. But all right, let me stop. Let me just fucking get to the fucking story, okay? Because I know you're like, Akil, just fucking tell the story. Stop fucking bullshitting around. It's been 10 minutes already. My bad. I'm getting warmed up. Let me do it. This is a fucking story that actually spans like 2 countries, 3 trips, almost a year of my life, a bunch of bullshit. And and again, like it did end up me inching closer to discovering kind of what I want to do with my life. So I'm very grateful for and for this story, this experience, and all of the people involved. One of the people which I'm still very close with to this day. The other one. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, fuck you. I can say that. Fuck you. But whatever. It is what it is. All right. All right, here we go. Let me pour myself another. See, I'm the only thing I'm kind of nervous about doing is pouring this because I don't have any tissues around me. If I spill this shit, I'm gonna put the mic down for 1 second and actually try and pour this shit. So only YouTube exclusive can watch me. Probably, no, not gonna. I'm going to pour all of it into the glass. Hold on, or a cup. 1 second. Let me put down the mic and pour myself another. Pour me a drink. Hold on. Oh, okay. All right, let me put this on camera. Okay. Mission accomplished. We did it. All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. So I think it's around 2011-ish. 2011-ish. But basically, around this time, I was full into the swing of my freelance English teaching career, and I was kind of on the tail end of it, starting to burn out. If it was 2011, I was about 29 years old. So I'd been freelancing for several years. I was thin. I was riding on my bike all over Tokyo. I'd been doing it for years. And I believe I invested some money. I lost some money. I saved a bunch of money. It didn't really work out the way I planned it. And after some fleeting glory, I was like, yes, I did it. I proved everyone wrong. And then, it didn't really work out the way I planned. So I was kind of like bummed out and starting to stare down the future possibility of me riding my bike around Tokyo forever, as an English teacher wandering the earth. And that fucking depressed the fuck out of me. And I was feeling sad for myself and, whining, complaining to anyone who listened to me and begging people for a job. And no one, it was not pretty, right? I was really one of the probably the lowest points of my adult life, I can definitely say. Um, Now, during this time, I had, you heard me talk about like how to gain trust from Japanese people and things like that. And several of my students had gotten very close to me and like, Akil, you're so great and things like that. And my bruised and damaged ego was just looking for anyone to save me from my position. Now, I'll call this person Kawasaki-san, okay? I'll call him Mr. Kawasaki. So, Mr. Kawasaki was one of my students, and he, had his own business. I won't give too much details about this guy. Just, you never know what will happen to this footage in the future. But yeah, he had his own business, and he was not smart. Okay, he was not like a smart guy. I met him like I said, like person that I knew who had a long relationship with connected me with a new circle of people that he was friends with. I became cool with those people, started teaching those people, and then Mr. Kawasaki was one of the people from that new circle. And the original person I knew said he didn't really know him that well. He was just kind of like, person A who introduced me knew group B, and then Mr. Kawasaki was kind of person C, and he was attached to group B but not directly attached to person A. So indirectly by association, I kind of over time started teaching Mr. Kawasaki, and started to become closer with him and help him out with stuff like that. And, in my mind, again, he lived in like a high rise apartment, in a nice area of Tokyo. Of course, in hindsight, he lived on the bottom floor of that, which is nothing wrong with that. But it should have told me something like, I was just like, I just want to get in the building, And at the time, I didn't have enough confidence in myself to really go after my dreams by myself. I was kind of looking to be somebody's right hand man all the fucking time, right? So after me teaching this guy, I don't know, maybe a year or less or something like that, one day I think all of my, somehow, I don't know what the fuck I was on, pleas for help or whatever. I basically had I was just asking people like, hey, do you know anyone who can give me a job? Basically, I was just like, can you help me out? In America, like, that type of thing is not, I would say, not like as big of a deal as here in Japan it is, especially when you're dealing with Japanese people. Again, and you've heard me talk about this. I think I talked about this in the first episode of this fucking show. Like, Japanese people will give you a chair, but they won't give you a pillow, and I don't mean this negative to bash Japanese people, but it's just something you need to understand about Japan. And this is how I kind of learned this type of lesson, that, a lot of the people who I felt I had a rapport with, who were like, you're so fucking great, da 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 da. When I was like, hey, can you help me with a job? I kind of want to do something else. They're like, what? No, you're a teacher. You're doing fine. Just stay exactly where you are. Don't do anything different. Like, because and now that in hindsight, it's like, yeah, well, you're giving me this kind of service, this piece that I like. So why would I help you, throw this piece away and then go on to something else? But of course, in the Western culture, if you really like someone, you do and you're a good person and you have some kind of pull, you do whatever you can, even make a call, ask someone or something. But in Japan, that's a really, really big risk to try and because again, like I said, like if that doesn't work out or that person flakes out, it looks really negatively on you, and it can really actually damage your career, because you'll always be the person who's known as introducing that, weird ass foreign guy to the company and fucked up the project, whatever the fuck happened. It's a real thing. So like, people really hesitate to do that. Ironically, just fast forward, by the time when, let's call it group B, remember, in person A, group B, in person C, which is Mr. Kawasaki. Ironically, at the end, when I kind of left group B and all of the associated people from that group, one of the person, I was kind of like, yeah, I just want to, I'm changing jobs, I'm working for this company, getting a full-time job and I'm gonna just start my own business. And they were kind of upset, they're like, whoa, you're leaving, I was like, what, you're leaving, what are you doing? And one of the people was like, well, I was gonna try to consider getting you a job with my company, because I had worked with one of the members. I've done a little bit of like communication assistance kind of work, like with contracts and teleconferences and stuff like them. And I kind of had my toe in the door, if you will. And I guess behind the scenes, she was kind of trying to grease the wheels to try and get me in as a teaching position, but doing something tech related, teaching or training. But, realistically, that wasn't something I would have enjoyed doing. It would have been something, it was, it's from the sounds of it, was kind of part-time. It could have led to something full-time down the road. I probably would have been a part-time teacher for a long time. And then eventually, after maybe studying Japanese and working real hard, I probably would have got like a full-time job. But it wouldn't have been something I would have been passionate about. It wouldn't have been something I would have enjoyed. I would have had like a stable income and maybe some type of income security eventually after several years, but I would not have definitely been happy. And definitely, I'm still, again, you've heard me talk, I'm still in the struggle, I'm still going for it, but I'm definitely like not out the fucking woods yet, y'all. But knowing that I'm going for what I want, and and my destiny is in my hands, gives me so much more comfort than being in the other position. I'm not knocking it. Every person is different, but I think this situation that happened, and then the subsequent, I had one more time, I had some more shit I had to deal with after this situation. It led me to realize that I'm the type of person I am at heart. I got to be an entrepreneur, and I have to work independent. And not even entrepreneurs, I have to work independently, is what I would say. Because, I wouldn't even call myself an entrepreneur at this point, officially, because, my business hasn't picked up momentum. I'm still in the ground stage, and that's why the Master P documentary was so important for me. It inspired me too, just looking at how he struggled, and how I've heard him say, he lost thousands to make millions. And that's something that kind of stuck with me, because, I'm definitely putting in thousands of dollars into my business, into my company, over the, annually. And it's not picking up traction, but I can feel the gears slowly starting to turn. And so now I'm trying to take my time to really figure out, okay, look under the hood and what's actually working this thing, and how is it actually gonna move, and where do I want it to go, and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm getting all sidetracked, but anyway. So yeah, so back to the story. So anyway, I get introduced to Mr. Kawasaki, and by the way, about this guy, so he's like a I don't know, I think he was at this time, I was in my late 20s. He was in his late 40s, maybe. Married guy, no kids. His wife, I'm not gonna get details into that, right? I'm not gonna get all put all his personal business out there. But he's just an interesting person, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm teaching this guy in the lobby of his high-rise apartment building, which ironically person A also lived in too. So person A and Mr. Kawasaki lived together, kind of in the same building. But person A, who I'd known for a long time, he actually was maybe more successful than Mr. Kawasaki, and so he lived on like a high floor of this, place. And Mr. Kawasaki lived on the second floor. And, again, nothing wrong with this, but one thing about Japan, people who live in high-rise condominiums, they judge people, I've heard, and I've kind of seen anecdotally, and I've heard anecdotally and seen, it's been a thing on Japanese TV shows as well, judge people based on what floor they live on. So, people from a high floor don't really associate people on a low floor and things like that. So if you think about Mr. Kawasaki lived on the lowest floor of this condo, and Mr. A lived on like, I think like the 22nd or 25th or some 20 something. He was pretty high, right? Up there, right? So of course I'd never been in Mr. A's condo before, never been there. Mr. Kawasaki, I'd been to his place, you know, but in my mind, I'm like, wow, you're in this building, da, da, da. But you know, Mr. A's taking the elevator, Mr. Kawasaki's taking the stairs. You know what I'm saying? Like to get like it's kind of like that dynamic to it. So, so one day, I'm I'm teaching them, and I'm just kind of like heavy. I'm just like fuck. And I forgot Mr. Kawasaki said what's wrong or something, you know, because he could tell. You know, I was just like fuck my life, you know, really, for like a while. And then we started talking. I was just like, you know, I didn't think I broke down, but I was just like, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I need to get out of this thing. I'm trapped. Fuck, I need to find something. Fuck. You know, I was like, do you have anything? Can you help me? And Mr. Kawasaki was like, okay, I'll hire you. You know, I was like, really? You'll give me a job? He's like, yeah, I have a job. I'll give you a job. And I was like, yay. And, you know, my whole life was like, yay, the door is opened, you know. Yeah. And so basically, over the next few weeks, what I found out was he had a plan to export an oil additive, a Japanese oil additive, a miracle oil. I won't even say the name of the oil additive because I just don't want you guys Googling this shit, like, you know. But it's a miracle Japanese oil additive that, I don't know, probably fucking works really well. Like, I had to learn all about this fucking oil additive over the months. And basically, like, one thing about Japanese products, if you heard me say it before in the past, like, you know, some Japanese people, you heard me, if you remember a few weeks ago, I was talking about like the bullet train that was, innovated. It was like a perfect fucking bullet train, but it was just like marginally better than like the really dope ass bullet train. And for me, like in hindsight, this oil additive was kind of like that. It worked great. It was amazing, you know, apparently. I don't fucking know. But I mean, just from the data and from like, you know, the anecdotes, and the infomercial and all this shit. And it really, really worked. And it was like a little test kit you could do and show the benefits of it. But the conditions to using this thing were so fucking detailed and so fucking precise. Like, you know, you had to put it in only to a new car. It couldn't be for an old car. You had to put it in after you take it. You have to do this, you know, all this shit. You can't just like pour it in, put it in your engine and make it work. Like, you know, like, and keep your shit clean. Like, no, it was just like a whole process to it. And the average consumer is not gonna fucking deal with that. Me at 29, fucking desperate. I had no idea. I was like, cool. So here's what Mr. Kawasaki was like. He was like, look, I have this business. I want to grow. I'm gonna need an international salesperson, but it's a new business, so I'm not gonna be able to pay you. So I can't hire you on full time. So I need you to keep working at your full-time job, you know, and work with me in your free time. And then as we build the business, I'll be able to bring you on full time. Then we'll be successful and rich, and then everyone will be happy. The end. That was, you know, of course I was like, you know, it's a lifeline, like out of my fucking, you know, Silence of the Lambs pit, Buffalo Bill pit of death. So I was like, please, yes, you know. So you know, so time passes and I'm helping him do all this crazy shit that, and again, keep like this guy's a fucking idiot, okay? Like I can't express how stupid this guy was, right? How senseless this guy is. I mean, like, if you're listening to this, Mr. Kawasaki, I'm sorry, you're a fucking idiot, okay? I didn't in the moment, I thought like, you know, the whole time I was just like, I was with everyone was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. I mean, literally, I don't use the word idiot. I don't throw that word around. Like, I really don't throw that word around. But like, yeah, like, I can't express the lack of common sense this dude has, right? Like, and in my mind, I was thinking like, okay, he's gotta be stupid like a fox. you know, is what I was thinking. I was like, he's got to be stupid like a fox. Like, he's got to be that type of, like, you know, I hate to use idiot savant who's like 99% of life, he's a fucking useless, but in this one area, he just knows what the fuck he's doing. And so if I can help him manage the 99% and free him up to focus on that 1%, and, you know, then I'll be right beside him and everything will be okay. Like, that was kind of my twisted fucking logic. Yeah, you see how that, you can tell how this story is going to end. So we, you know, we go to work, and you know, a couple times a week I meet with him in the evening, riding my bike, you know, across fucking Tokyo to like the around Tokyo Bay area, and meeting with him, translating documents. You know, I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. You know, like, he's like, hey, we just need this. They got this instructional video. We're gonna need it in English, and I need you to translate all this and then do the voiceover for it. And this is actually one of the first times I started doing voiceover, and I started doing editing. You know, which actually, you know, some skills that I didn't know I fucking had. You know, but I just had to do it. Like, I had to get my announcer voice. You know, this miracle oil additive, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying. Like, you know, like, just one application of this oil additive will add 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers to your engine life, and shit like that. Like, you know, and but actually, like, you know, my fucking cheesy announcer voice was actually pretty damn good. And if you think about it, kind of in the editing, some of the audio editing skills, like, I had to pick up on the fly, actually are kind of the shit that I'm using right now. So it's funny how, you know, things kind of lead you in a direction. So, yeah, he was like, I need you to edit this and translate this, because I think he was like, I'm going to like Cebu Island or something, and I need this shit before. I'm like, all right, right away, sir. Yes, sir, I'll do it. And okay, I need you to translate this shit. And it's like, okay, I'm like translating Japanese oil additive fucking instructions and shit like that, and he disappears and goes off for a while and then comes back. He's like, yeah, and everything's great. He's like, everything went great. I'm like, okay, great. And so fast forward, and then this dude's like, yo, okay, here's what's gonna, and by the way, you've heard me probably talk about an IT company, owner of an IT company that, you know, I'm cool with, who gave me feedback, you know, things like that. This is how I met this guy, actually. Because remember, through Mr. Kawasaki, I also met the IT guy, the IT company owner. And this is, again, Japan's really small like that. So if you think about it, I went from person A, right, who I had a long established relationship with. Like, I met him, he was my student when I first came to Japan, and then after Nova's bankruptcy and everything, we became friends. I was a private teacher, you know, we went out drinking lots of times. He took me to fucking hostess bars, you know, and shit like that. Introduced to group B, right, and he's person A. We got introduced to group B. Through that, I met Mr. Kawasaki, which is kind of person C. And then through dealing with Mr. Kawasaki's business, got introduced to person D, which is the IT company guy who I still have a great relationship with now. And out of all those people, like, the IT company owner is the only person I'm still in contact with now. But it just goes to show you, like, how, you know, small Japan is. So it all is based on that first initial person vouching for me, you know, and me building that reputation that I built with that person over, like, maybe like 5-6 years, in that kind of created a domino effect of good relationships that, you know, has led to like an invaluable friendship that I hold so dearly to this day. And I'm sure down the road in business, even now in business, like, I can call on him and he'll help me out with, you know, some shit, and give me feedback, give me advice, help me out with a project, even though it meant nothing to him, you know, took the time out of his business and his staff and stuff like that to help me out. And he even told me and another person, like, yeah, if it was any other person besides Akil, I would not be helping him out like this, you know. So it just goes to show you, like, putting in the, you know, the karma and the seeds, you know, planting the seeds, it kind of pays off. somehow. It's fucking paying off somehow. I don't know. It's not paying off in cash yet, but it's gonna pay off somehow. All right. So anyway, so he introduces me to the IT guy, and he's like, okay, here's the deal. You know, we got the oil additive, and we're gonna go to China. You know, and I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're gonna go to China, and we're gonna do this trade show, and we're gonna sell it, and we're gonna sell a bunch of shit, and we're gonna be rich. You know, he didn't say it like so. Again, he's kind of like, it sounds kind of crazy when I say it, but this guy's a fucking idiot. Okay, like okay. Kind of imagine a Japanese Homer Simpson. Like an early Simpsons, Japanese Homer Simpson. That's kind of what, like, he's like. Not like, you know, not one of the characters, but just in far as like his thought process, you know, the precautions he does and considers and shit like that. Like it, you know, it's like, hey, we're just doing it, and I don't know how, we're just gonna do it. Like, let's go, woohoo, kind of thing, you know. So, you know, really excited, really, you know, kind of a man child, if you will. Yeah, kind of Homer Simpson, Japanese Homer Simpson, mixed with what's his name? Not, is it Colin Farrell? Not Colin Farrell. It's not Colin. What's Anchorman? Ron Burgundy. Goddamn name. I forgot his damn name. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about. I'm sure you're probably screaming it to me. Yeah, Will Ferrell. Not Colin Farrell, Will Ferrell. Okay, like, so imagine a Japanese Homer Simpson mixed with Will Ferrell. It's kind of like what I was dealing with. So he was kind of half driving me crazy with like stupid, you know, stupid requests, crazy shit he wanted me to do, and half like, you know, I'm like moving me forward with this possibility of like a brighter future. So fast forward, the trip to China. Woohoo. Okay, hold on. Let me get some more ice for this, and because I turned the air conditioner off, so it's kind of getting warm in here. Let me get some more ice. I'll be right back. Load up another drink, and then we'll talk about the trip to China. Whew. Okay, we are back. So now we're getting ready for the trip to China. I spilled a little bit of alcohol. Shit. All right. Fuck. Yeah. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, fuck. Okay. I should went and got fucking tissue when I was up. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, then it's like, okay, we're going to China. So apparently, what was happening, there was like some trade show in a Chinese city. It wasn't Beijing. It wasn't Shanghai. It was near Shanghai. I got to Shanghai eventually. I'll get there. Don't worry. So now we have a cast of people, right? So there was actually a Chinese guy who lived in Japan, and Mr. Kawasaki picked this guy up from working in like a department store, or he was a cashier, I think. And you know, Mr. Kawasaki liked the way he bagged groceries, you know, really efficiently. He knew he was a good worker, so he was like, "I'm hiring you. You should quit your." I think he had a wife, maybe a kid at the time. That guy I feel sorry for. And I'll tell you why later. So he was like, "I'll give you a job. Quit your job. You know, your Seishain job probably, or you know, kind of a stable job, and come work for me." And he was like, okay, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna sell this, you know, oil additive, and we're gonna be fucking rich, and, you know. And so the guy's like, okay. So that's where I gave it to him. That's why I thought he was like crazy like a fox, because he had a way of, you know, he was bringing together some people, you know, even though he looked like he had no fucking sense. I was looking around like, okay, this kind of a ragtag group of like a squad, like kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of forming around here, like. Maybe there's something to this. Hey, let me run with it, you know. I start believing, you know, in the dream. So step one of this was, and he also, so step one of this was to go to China and do a trade show, a new trade show or something like that. And, you know, I was going to be the English salesperson. IT guy was coming. He helped get everything ready, all the materials together through his company, you know, the printed materials and the website and stuff like that. And, you know, Mr. Kawasaki, me, and then he of course, Mr. Kawasaki, he had like some lime green fucking windbreaker jackets made with the product name all over the fucking place. It looked so crazy. But you know, he was like, yeah, it'll be awesome. And I was like, okay, you know, and all this crazy shit. Like, you know, an IT guy, his company, you know, prepared all of it. So, you know, he's like, we're going. So you know, I'm like, yay, everybody. I tell my students, I'm gone to fucking China. I forgot the name of the city, my bad. For a few days, I'll be gone. Wish me luck, yay. So, here's the thing. One of the most embarrassing and gut-wrenching experiences of my adult life so far, we go to the airport. Now, he buys my ticket. But what I didn't realize and I didn't check was that Japanese people don't need a visa to go to China. Americans do. And I didn't know that, right? And nobody told me, which is, of course, at the end of the day, my responsibility. So we get to the gate and the staff is like, okay, you guys are ready. So, Akil, where's your visa? And I was like, in my heart, I almost shit a brick right there at the gate. And I was just like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're American. You need a visa to go to China. And I was like, oh, shit. And like, they're both like, look at me like, oh, shit. So I didn't fucking go to China. They got on the plane, you know, and of course, Mr. Kawasaki's like, don't worry, Akil, it's going to be okay. Just relax, it's cool, you know. And so they hop on the plane, they fucking go to China. I hop on the fucking train and take my bad ass right back home with my big ass suitcase. I get back in the house. I wanted to cry like a fucking bitch. Like, you know, like I just felt like a fucking idiot, you know, just something that simple. And I didn't check. And, you know, of course I didn't blame myself, but, you know, I didn't check. No one told me. I was just like, fuck. So always check if you need it. That's one thing. Always check if you need a visa wherever you're gonna go. Like, do that. Trust me. So I'm in the house. You know, I'm not working because I told my students like I'm going to fucking China. So all of my private lessons and stuff like that, I spent like a month getting it all organized. So I had like a few days off. So I'm just in the house for a day, just like, I'm a fucking loser, you know. And then Mr. Kawasaki calls me and is like, okay, we arrived. Everything's awesome. Don't worry. We're talking to the government people to hire and get you an expedited visa. Maybe we can get you another flight and get you out of here tomorrow. So we need you to like run to the embassy right now. We're gonna fax you some shit, like, you know, and so they're just like scrambling to get some proof that, you know, I'm trying to go for business, get me like a expedited visa application, and get me on the plane and get there. It's like, I think a 3-day, I forgot, 2 or 3 day trade show. So anyway, so I run the next day, I get the documents, I run to the Chinese embassy. I'm like, please give me this. It was like Friday too. So it was like, please give me this fucking visa, please, you know. So, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. I think like Friday, 4:30, I get my visa. I'm like, I got the fucking visa, I can go. And they're like, okay, we're going to book your flight. You fly out maybe that night or some shit like that. Like, I can't remember, this was a while ago. So I was like, all right, cool. My wife, I go back home, I'm going to fucking China. Ooh, you know, I'm back, baby. So yeah, I fly into Shanghai, I believe. I fly into Shanghai and I don't know what the fuck is happening, right? I remember the feeling like I just hopped on the plane, you know, I'm just excited to be going somewhere. But then when I landed at the airport, it's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on right now. Like, you know, and so, So like I get out of the gate and I'm just like in China, and like I don't have any reception in my phone. I don't have their number. Like I don't know what the fuck. And I'm just like, it's just crowded in there, and I'm just like, it's very different from Japan, very different. And so this dude just, I guess because I'm the only black guy there, he just walks up to me and he's just like, hey, come with me, come with me. And I'm like, nah, dude. Like, he's like, no, come on. And I'm like, what? And then he just grabs his phone. He's like, here. And he like, because he doesn't speak English. So he like gives me the phone, and then like, I'm like, hello? And it's like Mr. Kawasaki. He's like, hey, Akil, we're here. Don't worry, it's cool. Just go with this guy. I'm just like, okay. And so I guess he was my driver. So what happened was Mr. Kawasaki recruited 2 Chinese exchange students who could speak Japanese and English, Japanese and of course Chinese or Mandarin. I don't know in detail, what dialect they but so somehow the guy who knew them they hired him for the day to just drive me to this fucking city. It's an industrial town. Maybe I'm maybe an hour. I can't remember. Maybe an hour out of Shanghai. So I'm just like in a daze. It's nighttime. It's my first time. I'd been through China one time before on a trip to India. Long story. When I went bankrupt, but I didn't go out of the airport or the hotels, and I was just kind of there for a night by happenstance. It was kind of another crazy story. So this is my first time actually going into China and like seeing shit, and just like the scale of the highways, and the scale of the billboards, and scale of everything, and the condos, and just like, what the fuck. It's very different from Japan. So it's just like, shit, man. Like, damn, that's like, god damn, look at those condos. God damn, how many lanes is this fucking highway? And shit, look at the size of that billboard. Like, that's all I was doing. And just like, what the fuck? In half of my mind, I'm like, I'm on my way, where? Oh yeah, okay. I remember how this other shit. This is a long story. Fuck, man. I haven't even got to Cambodia yet. I'm gonna have to make this. This is gonna have to be another 2-part story. Okay, part 1 of this epic story is gonna be China. Part 2 is gonna be Cambodia. Fuck, cause yeah, this is too much. My life is too real. The drama is too much. All right, so anyway, yeah, after some time on the highway in China and just looking around at all this shit, I arrived. This guy, he just drives me to some random ass restaurant, and like everyone's there, and everyone's just like celebrating because they had just had, I think, either maybe the first or the second. I think it was a 3-day thing, like the Chinese guys there, Mr. Kawasaki's there, the IT company guys there, 2 Chinese girls are there, and everyone's just happy and celebrating. They're eating, everything's great. Everyone's like, oh, it's great, Akil, you're here, yo. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? This has been like the craziest fucking 3 days of my life. My life has been ruined. My life has been saved. I got on the plane, and now y'all are telling me everything's great. What the fuck? Like, and they're like, it's all good. Here, you want some food? Fucking eat some shit, drink some shit. We had a great time. It's awesome. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So apparently what happened was the first few days of the trade show went great. They had a bunch of interest. People were going up. They got cars. They got everything. Everyone's like, this is awesome, And so they're just telling me all this shit. They're like, we're going to be rich. It's going to be awesome, or not really going to be rich, but I mean, Mr. Kawasaki is looking like a fucking idiot savant. Like, he's looking like he's crazy like a fox. I'm like, okay, he's the truth. He's what I thought he was. He's fucking crazy like a fox. It seems like it's fucking gonna be a shitstorm, but like, it's happening. He's got this little goofy little smile, like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm fucking like, man, you don't see the shit. I'm like Elon Musk, you know, like I'm like Rain Man. You don't know the shit that's going on in my head, you know, and like, and so I'm like, okay, maybe I'm starting to believe. I'm starting to believe. And I just remember being in there and, you know, eating and drinking. And I'm kind of still in shock. I don't know what, you know, a lot has happened over the past few days for me. And I just remember watching Stephon Marbury, you know, because he was playing for the Beijing Ducks maybe or some shit like that. But him winning his first championship over there was on the screen. I was just like, that's fucking Stephon Marbury. Like, I'm fucking, y'all trying to get me all drunk. There's a bunch of food here. What the fuck is going on? You know, everyone's telling me it's all good, but I don't believe them. So I, you know, I get into a really nice, I think we stayed in the Hilton or something like that, because, you know, it's China, it's fucking developing, so, like, there was a new fucking Hilton there, like, you know, I don't know what city we were in, it's on the tip of my tongue, but whatever, like, and so, I think it was Kosan or something like that, so, in the Japanese name was, like, Kosan, let me see. No. I again, sorry, my bad. I just can't remember the name of the city. I'm trying to block it out of my memory, but, but yeah, so I go to sleep, and then the next morning, you know, they're like, okay, I'm fucking nervous as fuck at this point, because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, and, you know, so I'm wearing this, like, I get this, like, I'm dressed up, I get this lime green jacket on, we get on this bus, and I can see, like, all half of the people just kind of laughing at us, because we're wearing these fucking jackets. We got these two, you know, university student girls, and we're there, and we set up our booth, and basically, so what happened was a bunch of people came in the first couple of days, they got a bunch of cards, we got a bunch of interest. And the third day, it really wasn't, you know, as many people as the first couple of days, because this was the first time this trade show was being put on. And I learned later that you should never do a trade show the first year. Basically, is what the established like thought is, because you just don't know the turnout or whatever. But so the third day, my job was to simply pass out tissues, little hand tissues from Japan. That's a way of advertising in Japan with the product name on it. And I was just taking pictures with people. Like, people were just like, oh, it's Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan. You know, and I don't look nothing like Michael Jordan. But, you know, I'm black, I'm bald. Like, you know, it's like, oh, Michael Jordan. And, you know, or like some other soccer player. They just thought I was like a professional soccer player or some shit like that. And so people were just running up to me, just like, hey, come take a picture with me. And I'm just like, smiling, okay, you know, smiling and just like snapping photos with random ass Chinese people like all day. It was pretty much my job. Like, I didn't talk about the product. I didn't do anything. It was just like, just fucking hand out tissue. Like, it was literally be like, hey, give me a tissue. Come and take a picture with me. And it's like, okay, you know, so that was that, you know. And the third day wasn't as, you know, it said it wasn't as busy as the first day. At the end, I kind of figured something was up. At the end, like, bootleggers were sneaking in, like the last like hour, bootleggers were sneaking in and like selling their products and then getting kicked out. It was kind of crazy, you know. You know, China's like the Wild West with shit like that. So what ended up happening with something interesting was, because I had come, I think, a day or two later, I flew out a day later than the other two guys. And so like, we went, I forgot how the fuck we got back to Shanghai. But somehow we got back to Shanghai, and all three guys, yeah, because the Chinese guy flew with them also too. So all three of them could, you know, yeah. The Chinese guy, he was Chinese. The two Japanese guys didn't need visas, and I was the fucking dumbass American guy who didn't realize I needed a visa. So those three guys flew out, and then the two Chinese girls and me stayed back in Shanghai, like, because they lived in Shanghai or something like that. And, you know, basically they were like, it's cool. We'll show him around and make sure he gets on his plane tomorrow. And so I basically just had a free day to go sightseeing in Shanghai with these two, cute fucking tour guide Chinese girls who were really friendly, really cool. And the funny thing about it is, though, you know, they couldn't speak English. So, like, our common language was Japanese, actually. So we were in the middle of Shanghai. I'm a black dude, these two small, tiny Chinese girls, and we're just talking Japanese to each other all day. And so people were just like, what the? Looking around, like, they hear us talking, like, what the fuck? It was just like a really weird kind of dynamic. So, I went to a lot of the major, I couldn't tell you the names of these places, but I remember I have images of them, the major sightseeing places in all over Shanghai, and ate some great food and saw some parks and stuff, and bay and all this other good shit. It was a really, really great day, actually. And so that made me feel optimistic. They were optimistic about the future. They were like, "Yay, this product is gonna make a lot of money, and we're gonna, have a bright future, and we're gonna be able to come visit Japan. And yay!" Also feel bad for them because apparently that of course didn't work out. So when the evening time came, like, they were like, of course, I think I paid. I forget, either Mr. Kawasaki gave us a budget, or I paid. I forgot. I think Mr. Kawasaki gave a budget. I think so. Mr. Kawasaki gave some money. He was like, "Hey, show him a good time." I mean, not like show him a good time like that, but like, show him a good time or show him around the city. And so we had money, and so left over, and so we went to eat dinner. I think I paid for dinner that night. Yeah, I was like, "Thank you guys for showing me around. I'll pay for dinner." And so I was like, they were telling me like about, I think it was Szechuan, or I forgot what, I can't remember, but basically it's really, really, really spicy Chinese food, like, kind of nabe, like a hot pot. And they were like, it's fucking hot, and they were telling me about this hot, spicy shit. I'm like, my parents are from the Caribbean. I eat spicy food all the fucking time. Let's go for it. Let's try it. And so they thought I was fucking crazy because, like, and they were like, also, there's this really, really strong alcohol that's like, 80% alcohol or something like that people drink there. And so I was like, great, I'll try it. And so I'm sitting there eating like the hottest fucking, hot pot, and it's my mouth is just numb, and I'm drinking like the strongest alcohol. And I'm like, "Oh, you guys eat this shit all the time?" And they're like, "No, we don't eat this shit." I'm just like, "Really?" So y'all just having me. You're like, "Yeah, you eat that. Like, we're not eating that." Like, y'all drink this shit? Like, no, I don't drink this shit. This shit is way too strong. And so I'm just like looking like a crazy person, But it was a good meal. We had a good meal, and towards the evening time, I saw a nightclub. We were walking back. They were walking me back to the hotel, and I hear the. I was like, I stopped. I was like, "There's a nightclub over there," and I was like, looked at them for a second because I'm kind of drunk at this point, and so drunk Akil starts taking over. Party guy starts coming out, and I saw them kind of being like, they weren't kind of nightclub kind of girls, and so I was like, I'm on a business trip. Never mind. I'm the only guy on a business trip. If there was another guy with me, I might have been like, come on, let's go. But, it was just me trying to drag these two young girls into a fucking nightclub somewhere like in Shanghai. I was just like, never mind. So I was just like, I just went back to my room with the leftover alcohol. They gave me the bottle, and, I had a terrible hangover the next day. And passed out and woke up the next day, hopped on a plane back to Japan. Thinking, with hope for the future that, this business was about to take off, and my life, I was going to be, because this guy, Mr. Kawasaki's goal was, excuse me, the Chinese guy would be the, Chinese rep and deal with all the distribution in China. I would handle all the English-speaking countries. China's market is so huge, that would be more than enough money for him. All the English-speaking countries, that's more than enough money for me and for everyone else, and then we would just be making money. Of course, that didn't really work out. So I'm gonna stop here on the story, and that was the trip to China, which led to Cambodia. Now, what I will say, because I want to leave this episode off with some advice. If you come to Japan, I'm sure this is true in everywhere in life and in every country or whatever, every career path. But, you got to kind of really know yourself, and don't make decisions out of emotion and out of desperation. And, this endeavor was definitely made out of emotion. It was made out of desperation. And in hindsight, there were several red flags and several warning signs that I didn't heed. And in the end, it worked out great because, again, it was necessary steps to put me on my path. But especially when you're coming to Japan or things like that, I'll just deal with Japan only. You got sometimes not, again, Mr. Kawasaki, he was not like a shady guy. He was not, a bad guy. He's just a fucking idiot, and I'm sorry, he was just a fucking idiot. And so you gotta kind of, understand who you're dealing with here. And that's why, understanding the language. And well, one, I wouldn't have got that opportunity if I didn't have the language skill. But of course, learning the language skill, but also understanding knowing what you want to do really helps you a lot here. Of course, that experience helped me find what I wanted to do in my life, but I wouldn't have had to go through that if I knew what I wanted to do. And there were another situation that happened a little bit later where another person from Group B, that big group, had another business opportunity in India, and he asked me if I could help him out with that. And I was like, nah, dude, that's not going to happen. Selling solar panels or some shit like that. And I was just like, or some solar, it wasn't even that. It was like a solar panel cleaner or something like that. Like something that could clean something, some service, some shit. And I was just like, he was going over there. He wanted me to help him out. Of course, it was a new business, so he couldn't pay me. But definitely, I'm just telling you this. It seems like it's not like a line. He's not a scam artist either. But if you come to Japan and you hear that type of shit, just stay away from it. That's my advice. Even if you're in a position where you might want to get out of what you're at, you might feel like you're being pigeonholed, you might feel like you're in a dead-end situation. Don't make those type of decisions out of desperation. And start your own shit. Like that's as soon as you get to Japan, figure out what you want to do. Like, I mean, we're in the corona situation, so people aren't really coming here, but this will be online after that. So hopefully, we're in 2020 now, 2022, 2025, when everything gets kind of back to normal, and people start coming in and moving into Japan again, figure out what you want to do from day one. It could be an ass backwards ass plan. That's a starting point. Where you start is not where you're going to end up, 99% of the time anyway. So, but just start something and go down that path, and use your time here, and you will end up in a positive place. And but if you are just kind of in the wind hoping someone's going to hook you up, you'll end up like, in a fucking crazy ass situation where you're, end up in Shanghai taking pictures, with people who are telling you you're fucking Michael Jordan. Like, for some crazy ass Japanese oil additive. Like, come on. Like, it's a funny story, but like, I'm not trying to repeat that situation again. So that's my advice for this. I won't call it part 2. It is kind of 2 parts, but I'll just label this one episode 31, trip to China. Next time is going to be part 2 of this story where I tell you about Cambodia. Cambodia. And what happened there and how the story concludes. So, all right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this part. I'm surprised I'm telling so fucking story. I'm surprised I kept this story from you guys this long. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. This is my life here. So, so all right, y'all. I'll holler at you next time. Peace.